How quickly do you lose your cycling fitness? Well, I've got a very personal reason for asking that question. Back in September, I cycled the North Coast 500. So that was 500 miles over 7 days in northern Scotland. And when I got home, I was probably in the shape of my life. Since then, everything's kind of gone to pot. Now, the reasons my levels have dropped are twofold, really. When I got back after the Scotland ride, I was in pretty poor shape. I was very battered up. The other issue I've had is I recently had an operation. So I've been doing a bit of research into how much that may have affected my fitness levels. And here's what I found out. So loss of fitness starts after your recovery period finishes. So when you've been doing a lot of exercise, you need to allow your body to recover. But once you go beyond that time, you then start losing fitness. And that's usually 3 to 5 days. And after about 5 days, your body has to start working a bit harder to push the oxygen around your body. And that is an indication you'll become less of an efficient machine. Your fitness is slightly dropped off. And the other point worth noting is that these very early stages, the drop off in fitness is very small. You go 6 days without exercise, you're really not going to notice any difference. So even though I'm banding these timescales around, this is very much individual. What works for me or applies to me won't necessarily apply to you. And after about 10 days, your VO max starts to decrease. Now, Cyclist loves talking about VO max. I'm no scientist, but your VO max is the maximum amount of oxygen that your body can process. The higher that is, the better athlete you are. So after a couple of weeks, this does start to deteriorate. Now, even though we're all different, as I've already said, 10 days to 2 weeks is about the maximum they think that anyone can go without exercise and not have some sort of degradation in their fitness. And I'm afraid after 2 weeks, if you continue not to exercise, this deterioration just continues. So that's the bad news, but there is some good news for some of you out there, and I think I'm one of those people, and that's in regard to which fitness you actually lose. What the science tells us is that different fitness types degrade at different rates. If you imagine your fitness is a pyramid, and at the top of the pyramid is your explosive power, the sort of fitness you need when you're sprinting on the Champs-Elysees and the Tour de France, and at the base of the pyramid it's your endurance fitness, your base fitness. Now, for cyclists like me, I don't really have a top of the pyramid. I don't have really that explosive power. Most of my fitness is the base fitness, and this is much slower to degrade. So it's good news for some of us anyway. And there's no long-term effects of actually taking time off the bike. You can regain that fitness by just exercising again. So don't despair if you've had some time off the bike, whether enforced or by choice. You can get back to the levels you were at previously just by riding again. And I think during the winter, we all tail off a little bit on our cycling, which is understandable. Don't beat yourself up about it. I'm certainly not. And I really enjoyed today's ride. Great being back on my bike. The journey back to peak fitness begins here. So thank you for watching today. Please like and subscribe if you like my content. And I'll see you on the next one.